4 days ago on this channel, we gave you one tell to watch. Does the SEC put regulation crypto back in motion before September 15th? Yesterday, the SEC didn't just put it back in motion, it skipped the public meeting entirely and passed the proposal anyway. So what is regulation crypto, and what did we just learn about who's really holding the leverage in Washington? Welcome to Realm of Crypto, where we take the loudest narratives in this market and stress test them. No hype, no price calls, and today, something new. We grade our own call in public. That's the deal on this channel. First, the grade. Last week's episode laid out two stories for the canceled SEC meeting. The power move, the SEC telling Congress, pass the Clarity Act or we write the rules without you. The pause button, Washington quietly telling the SEC to wait. Our tell was simple. Watch whether regulation crypto moves before September 15th. It moved in 4 days. On Tuesday, the commissioners approved the proposal by seriatim vote, individually, on paper, no open meeting, and the 60-day comment clock is now running. And the White House's own crypto advisor said the quiet part at a conference that same day. They're giving Congress every opportunity to pass the bill before they, quote, break glass and move without them. The leverage was real, but graded honestly. The pause button story wasn't wrong either. Canceling the public spectacle and voting quietly on paper is exactly what you do when you want the leverage without embarrassing the negotiations. The meeting was the pause. The vote was the power. On the board, called it with an asterisk. Now, what actually passed? This is the SEC's first major crypto rulemaking, roughly 400 pages, and it does three big things. 1. 2 new fundraising exemptions, a startup path to raise up to $5 million over 4 years with white paper style disclosure instead of audited financials, and a larger path up to $75 million in any 12-month period. 2. A conditional safe harbor. Once an issuer has completed or permanently stopped the essential managerial efforts it promised, the token can exit the definition of a security. That's the answer to crypto's oldest question. Does a token have to be a security forever? 3. It preempts state registration requirements for those offerings. Chair Atkins called it the most historic step yet, and notably said the SEC still expects the Clarity Act to reach the president's desk. Now the stress test, because a proposal is not a rule. The comment period runs 60 days into mid-October. Then comes analysis, a possible reproposal, an adoption vote, and an effective date. The realistic finish line is deep into 2027. It does not settle who regulates the market. SEC versus CFTC is exactly what only the Clarity Act can decide. The seriatim route also means the first major crypto rule arrived with zero public debate, and the Senate math has not moved. The bill has swollen past 600 pages, more than 100 Democratic edits deep, and the fights, stablecoin rewards, the ethics rules around the president's family crypto ventures, reopened this week. Even Senator Lummis says she doesn't know which way the president will go on the latest text. BitGo's CEO offered the coldest read of all. Clarity is worth more to Washington, one vote away from passage, than after passage. The markets agree with the split. A Senate vote by October prices in the mid to high 80s. The bill becoming law this year, only around a quarter. Better than 2 weeks ago, still an underdog. So here's the updated verdict tree. 1. Today, 2:30 Eastern, the White House room. Trump, Atkins, the CFTC chair, Ripple, Coinbase, the exchanges. Policy, not photos. 2. Thursday, the CFTC's Innovation Committee meets for the first time. Does the other regulator start its own break glass rulemaking? 3. September 15th, 2:15 Eastern. 60 votes. 27 days out. And remember, the Genius Act failed its first vote and still became law. 4. The comment file. If the bank lobby floods it, the pause button faction gets a second act. We grade the board again on September 16th. Quick disclaimer, this is information and entertainment, not financial advice. Crypto is volatile. Always do your own research. If you want a channel that shows you its scorecard instead of hiding it, subscribe. This is the antidote. And tell me below, did the SEC just force Congress's hand or handed an excuse to wait? This is Realm of Crypto, the grades on the board. See you at the next stress test.